Mission log, stardate, the year of the tiger. I've crash landed in this, what can only be described as a virgin's bedroom. And there are signs of alien life forms here, but I'm not too sure.
Clever girl.
You and I are gonna get home.
Oh, family.
Ready?
Today we have 65. I do wonder if someday we're just gonna run out of numbers for movies. So 65 got some traction. Trailers started hitting a few months ago. Two main things it has going for it in terms of marketing. It's that one, you have its star, with the man right here, the only Adam Driver shirt that I have, Adam Driver, who, I mean, he's big. I love him and most of what he does. I don't think I've seen a bad performance. I've seen some weird performances from him, looking at you, white noise. But he's always great, or elevates the work he's in to some extent or another. So he was part of the marketing. Other part of the marketing was the fact that this film, and they kept saying this, like from the writers of producers. They might have said producers, but I looked it up. From the writers of A Quiet Place. So the two main things that has going for it is that it's going to be this like sci-fi, futuristic, but in the far past type of film, like survival sci-fi thriller from the guys who helped to write A Quiet Place, and starring Adam Driver and a girl who is slowly escalating to higher levels of fame. For directors, it's two people, and I think they're normally a directing team, or at least from what their limited filmography is so far. When I looked them up, each one had almost, not quite identical, but nearly identical, like credits, basically. Brian Woods, Scott Beck. So it's Brian Woods and Scott Beck. Their directing filmography is kind of on the lower side, and what they have made hasn't been too terribly well received. I think the most recent full-length feature they did was this film called Haunt. Here's the ironic part. Their claim to fame is that they wrote Quiet Place. Now, pause for effect on this one. I don't know if you guys have seen Quiet Place, or know about the general premise or conceit of that film. It's a very quiet film. There is very limited dialogue. Yes, some characters talk sometimes. Of course, I know writing involves more than just dialogue. It means you wrote the script about what happens, so actions and what people do, that type of stuff. I get that. But ain't it ironic that it's like, I just thought it was funny, in a movie where most of the cast barely speaks, and you have to be quiet throughout a lot of the film. That's like what that's the main thing they're known for writing. I just thought it was funny. Star power, we already discussed Adam Driver. I don't really need to delve too much in his filmography. The girl, so it's a survival movie, right? Where it's like the ship, Adam Driver is this guy who's trying to fly a ship to discover new systems. And as they're about to like approach a potential planet, he's awoken from his slumber because, of course, there's an uncharted asteroid belt which somehow basically knocks out the ship's everything, and they just crash, and the ship gets ripped apart. All the crew that are in cryo die, but then all of a sudden, boom, vitals. One little girl survived. Adam Driver's character goes to find him, get him, and they have to figure out a way to find one of the wrecked escape pods and try to figure out a way off of this planet. At that, from what the trailers show you, boom, 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 plot twist, is Earth 65 million years in the past. It's those weird waters where with Star Wars we kind of let it slide. So for me, I'll let it slide. But basically, an advanced civilization that's very, very similar to us 65 million years ago accidentally crashes onto what is now known as Earth, and are technically the first human visitors or people to ever be on the planet, and then boom, you have your movie. But Ariana Greenblatt, her as a little girl, her character is the one that Adam Driver finds. This is probably one of her first like current big roles. She has some stuff in the pipeline. Funny enough, she's gonna be in the Barbie movie in some extent. And what's curious for me, hoping this film is not a complete dumpster fire, but she's going to be Tiny Tina in the new Borderlands film. And that for me is exciting. I love Tiny Tina, love the character, so I hope that she can bring the same energy and vivaciousness. Admittedly, it's a cool premise. The premise itself, when I saw the trailer, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like I saw the trailer, right, and I didn't immediately think, oh my god, subversive masterpiece or a pinnacle of what's going to be another sci-fi movie to define this year. But I saw it and I was like, okay, that's neat. And the idea of the story, I mean, it's cool. It's good enough where it hooked me, where I at least wanted to see that. I liked the premise. I wanted to see how that would play out. I mean, Adam Driver, like, it's kind of funny. The first 5 minutes, I think he's a little bit lukewarm. I hesitate to say phoning it in, but I mean, I've seen him at peak. I've seen him better. I didn't quite buy the intensity and emotion that I would have in other roles. But as the film continues, I bought into it a little bit more. He kind of, I guess when you put on the suit and you're in there and you're really in these scenes, then I started to vibe with the character more. Ariana Greenblatt, well, I mean, for the lines that she does have, it's mostly whatever she's doing in the eyes, face, and body language. In terms of a character who doesn't talk a lot that I really love, it wasn't like the gal from Logan, right? Like that kind of character, or like someone who's more talkative, like Ellie from Last of Us. It doesn't quite, I didn't see her as this character that I was really rooting for or attached to. She played the character well enough. It wasn't anything special in my eyes. And no fault to the actress, I'm sure. I mean, both of them seem like they're good picks for this, but if everything else isn't conducive to the film's premise and you build it on a shaky foundation, then you can't be surprised when this kind of stuff happens. The Earth that they go to is fine. It's just like a lot of jungle vegetation. What I liked, funny enough, was normally it can be hit or miss to nail sci-fi. I don't know what it was about it, but the sci-fi aesthetic of like Adam Driver's ship and the tech that he was using, like his weapon and all this, and the little gadgets and scanners and everything. I liked the design of it. I thought it was cool looking sci-fi. I don't know, the production design in that regard was pretty decent. It was well built stuff, looked cool, and I bought it. I like the premise of all that tech was sold. It didn't look manufactured or cheap. I thought the set design was pretty decent. There were a couple scenes that were cool. One scene in particular where like he gets injured and the little girl has to help him before they get into a big encounter with some dinos and all that. That was neat. There's a couple scenes here and there where I'm like, okay, this is enjoyable. Like I'm kind of digging this scene. There weren't a lot of them, and I will say this was not a film I expected to find this in, but this film has a few jump scares, but there was one jump scare. I don't remember the last time that a non-horror film got me so good. I fucking jolted. Like it was, my guard was down. I wasn't paying attention. It was pretty inconspicuous. It was a scene that just, you didn't think there was gonna be a jump scare there, and then fucking boom, and I was just like, Jesus, that, like, out loud, I was with my friend, and out loud I was like, that got me. But that's about all the positives I've got to say. Where to begin? The marketing, the marketing was fine in terms of the trailers, but the title conveys like nothing about the film. You just see Adam Driver on a poster in a spacesuit, but it just says 65, and you're like, what the hell are you supposed to gain from that? The whole thing is, after you have your like 20-minute long opening, and then you have the credits, and in the trailer it says, and these things it says 65 million years ago, and I get how you want to be able to really like factor that into a title per se, but come on, like you could have workshopped it like 65 mil, 65 BC, or there've been long movie titles in the past. Hell, Everything Everywhere All at Once just won a damn Oscar, and that's a long ass title that even the Academy had to abbreviate sometimes. But film like this, you think they could have done like 65 million years ago, or 65 million, or million years, or 65 like I said, like there's some variation to communicate more than just a number. Maybe the number is supposed to draw people in. Maybe that was the marketing angle to all this. And the film's tropey, of course, like it's nothing revolutionary or new. It's definitely fairly predictable with some of its fair share of tropes, but especially the whole like surrogate daughter bit. And I get it's a popular thing going on, especially in these like last several years. You lost something in your own personal life, then you meet somebody else who kind of gets you to regain that part of your humanity, and then you take on the duty of like guardian and caretaker. But I didn't 100% buy the relationship with the two of them in this one. Like, I believe that it's there-ish, but what really didn't help, and I was kind of worried about this because I didn't hear the girl talk in the trailer, they also lean into not only the surrogate child trope, but also the whole, oh, well, she can't speak English. So there's a communication barrier there. So it's going to be even harder for them to begrudgingly connect and figure out how to survive together. I don't know, I felt like the lack of communication between the two of them just created an even more insurmountable obstacle in that how do we develop these characters' relationships in an hour and a half with like minimal, I mean there's some dialogue, but it's mostly Adam Driver, and then she does, you know, she's begrudgingly coming around, you have the highs, the peaks and the valleys, and just, but it wasn't strong enough. Not to mention the plot holes. The biggest thing, none of this would have happened if that ship that they're flying in on had shields, and it boggles my mind that if these people are so advanced, they have like what I assume to be FTL, faster than light travel, and they have all this tech and little scanners that can scan anything, even unknown stuff in an environment, and little like water purifiers and food checkers and all. You don't have shields on your damn ship. You don't have a computer that's smart enough to be like, oh, this asteroid field wasn't originally where we thought it was going to be, but we sense it over here, so we're going to course correct and we're going to figure out a way to get around it. But course correction through AI, shielding, it's sci-fi, so when shit like that goes down, it makes it even more, it's immersion breaking for me. I'm a little piss boy, nerd boy, gamer guy. All that stuff is logically running through my head. Like, you want to be sci-fi, but you don't want to adhere to what would inherently be included in a sci-fi world. He has this scanner that helps him like find things in the environment, and it's very like, it works when the plot needs it to work. Again, it's that like super cool looking and helps him all the time, and then somehow flawed tech where he can look across a valley and see an escape pod, but if there's trees, the scanner has a hard time picking it up. But then if he points it at the sky, it can map out stars that are like miles away. I don't know. It's just the tech was very picky and choosy with how it would work properly. There's even a scene where like he has his gun, which I don't know how I assume it's like actual bullets being fired, but the readout on the side for the ammo counter, it's all touchscreen and electronic. And at one point, like the gun, I don't know if it jams or something, because he tries to fire it and he's like, oh, and then like turns it over and then presses some boop boops and beep beeps. It's like the guy it feels like he's just doing a software update. Like the guy forgot to agree to the terms and services, and then it suddenly starts working. Again, the tech works or doesn't work based on what the script calls for it. But I do find it funny how there were a couple moments, several in fact, that borrowed heavily from Interstellar, having to leave your actual family behind and then having like they suffer while you're gone trying to make advancements for your own kind or for humanity, and then you're forced to like sit down in your spacecraft and watch these videos of their lives growing up in front of your eyes. It's just 100% Interstellar inspired. I mean, I'm sure it's been done before Interstellar, but I mean, come on, it's all what's like prevalent in our minds. And the dinosaurs, the biggest thing about this film would be the dinosaurs they're fighting, right? They don't look too bad. I think all things considered, these are all CGI critters. Would have loved to have seen more practical stuff, but I get it if it wasn't in the budget. All things considered, the CGI dinos and critters that are in this film don't look half bad. Like, they all look decent. Nothing like too exciting, and of course it's PG-13, right? So you can't get too gruesome or like Dino Crisis about it or anything like that. I guess we meet a variety of prehistoric creatures, but I don't know, there's some weird moments where the movie slows down for these like not even like survival or like action sequences, but more of these like character moment, how do we surmount this obstacle. I think there's one point they get trapped in a cave, and in my opinion they spend a little bit too much time in said cave. For a movie about a ship crash landing on a alien planet and having to fight off the local, flora and fauna, mostly the fauna, there's a decent amount of dinosaur involvement. I thought there would have been like more dinosaur involvement. You could have made the characters stronger, more well written, given them, I guess, better scenes to bond, but it all just kind of feels like a film that's retreading water that's been tread many times, but is becoming more and more diluted with each passing movie or person, you know what I'm saying? I thought it was alright. I thought it's like average. I almost went above average, but the more that I studied it, I was like, no, I wouldn't call this above average. Wait to stream, wait to rent. I say 65 is a solid middle of the road, a 3 out of 5. It's a 3 out of 5. It is an average film. I'll leave it at that. It could have been a lot worse, but also hurts my heart, Adam Driver. It could have been a lot better. It had the makings of greatness, but with a rocky foundation, a shaky, unstable foundation, an execution that just wasn't bad execution, but just left a lot to be desired. That's all I gotta say about 65. So thank you guys and gals so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. And goodbye, travelers.